Julian, I breathed, burying my face in the familiar, comforting warmth of his chest. He smelled of cedarwood, bergamot, and the crisp, clean air of London. He wrapped his heavy trench coat around my shivering shoulders, his strong arms pulling me flush against him. For a moment, he just held me, pressing a kiss to the crown of my head. But as he looked over my shoulder at the empty driveway, his body went rigid. Where are they? Julian asked, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. Your father's assistant told me they were supposed to be here with you. They went back to the city, I said softly, my voice muffled against his shirt. Chloe was scared of the thunderstorm. Julian pulled back just enough to look into my eyes. His jaw tightened, a muscle ticking in his cheek as he processed the fact that 3 grown men had left me stranded in the dark, miles from civilization, for a girl who was afraid of a little rain. They left you, he stated, the words clipped and cold. It doesn't matter anymore, I said, offering him a small, genuine smile. And to my surprise, it was true. The suffocating weight that had been pressing down on my chest for months was gone. The girl who needed their protection died tonight, Julian. I'm ready to go home. Julian's eyes softened. He kept my face in his warm hands, his thumbs gently wiping away a stray tear I hadn't even realized had fallen. Then let's go home, my love. He opened the passenger door of his Maybach, ensuring I was safe and warm before sliding into the driver's seat. As the car glided down the winding suburban roads, I didn't look back at the villa. I didn't look back at the ghosts of my childhood. I was finally looking forward. 2 days later, in the sprawling Hayes estate, Liam sat at the breakfast table, nursing a cup of black coffee. He had barely slept. The image of Anya standing alone on that patio, her face utterly devoid of the warmth she used to reserve solely for them, kept flashing in his mind. Liam, his mother's voice was sharp, cutting through his fatigue. She walked into the dining room and slammed an elegant, cream-colored envelope onto the mahogany table. Have you even bothered to open this? Liam sighed, rubbing his temples. Mom, please. I know it's Anya's wedding invitation. It's just a stunt. Her father probably hired some actor to save face, Mrs. Hayes let out a harsh, bitter laugh. A stunt? An actor? You really are blind, aren't you? Open it. Annoyed, Liam picked up the envelope. The wax seal was embossed with a crest he recognized instantly from the financial papers he reviewed daily. His heart skipped a beat. He pulled out the heavy cardstock and read the gold-foiled lettering. You are cordially invited to celebrate the marriage of Anya Harper and Julian Astor. The coffee cup slipped from Liam's hand, shattering against the marble floor. Julian Astor, the sole heir to the Astor European conglomerate, a man whose wealth and influence eclipsed the Hayes, Thorne, and Monroe families combined. A man who had famously been operating out of London for the past 2 years. She wasn't lying, Liam whispered, all the blood draining from his face. The boyfriend studying abroad. It was Julian, yes, his mother said coldly. While you 3 were busy playing white knights for a girl who cries at thunder, Anya secured a future none of you could ever offer her. And you treated her like garbage. Across the city, similar scenes were playing out in the Thorne and Monroe households. Ethan stared at the invitation in his home office, his analytical mind short-circuiting as the reality of his cruelty set in. Noah, sitting in Chloe's modest apartment, received a frantic text from Ethan with a picture of the invitation. Chloe peered over Noah's shoulder, her eyes narrowing as she read the name. Julian Astor, she said, feigning confusion. Isn't he supposed to be quite old? I guess Anya really was desperate for money. He's 26, Chloe, Noah said quietly, his voice lacking its usual bravado. He's our age, and he's brilliant. Chloe's smile faltered, her perfectly manicured nails digging into her palms. The wedding day arrived in a spectacular blur of white roses and spun glass. The ceremony was held at the Astor family's private estate, an opulent coastal property that made our childhood country clubs look like modest playgrounds. I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling mirrors in the bridal suite, adjusting the